Hello, everybody. I'm sorry for the crazy hair, but I'm coming on here today just so that I can kind of document this new journey that I'm about to embark upon. As many of you know, I started maybe two years ago or so um, blogging about my weight loss journey. Sorry, I'm nosy. I'm looking out of my window because I thought a car was pulling up. But anywho, um, I started to document my weight loss journey in a blog a couple years ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. I can't remember. But prior to that, my husband and I, back in 2016, actually 2015, not 2016, before we got married, we started to work with a um, personal trainer, and I think maybe around June or so to get prepared for our wedding. Um, After a couple of months, that fell through. We also kind of continued that, or actually we started prior to that, and we lost like 40 pounds, and then we got the personal trainer, all of that. But afterwards, when the personal trainer fell through, he's actually Navy, so his command changed, and everything changed, and so he wasn't offering the services anymore. Um, so I started to try to take things into my own hands, do things like we used to do, and just document via the blog. I've documented everything from what we ate, how we meal prepped, what exercises we did, when I lost weight, when I didn't lose weight, when I gained weight, just being transparent and real with y'all. So anybody who followed that blog, thank you for your support. I appreciate it. But we're here today to talk about a new journey. Don't worry, I'm not here to sell you anything. None of that. This journey is something that's new. So I want to say shortly after, we were still on the journey after we lost like the 40 pounds or whatnot. I went to the doctor just for, a little random, checkup. Just going to the doctor to do what I'm supposed to do as far as keeping my health in check. I have never had any health issues. I don't have high blood pressure. I don't have diabetes. I'm just fat and have PCOS, which of course could lead to, which can eventually lead to, or one of the symptoms of it is insulin resistance. And so people who have PCOS are more likely to become insulin resistant. You may have seen some of my family post on here, and if you know my family or are my family, you know that PCOS runs in our family. And so if you don't know what that is, just take a look, check it out. There are many women out there who are not familiar with the symptoms, and they may be having symptoms of PCOS and are not aware of what that is. And it could sometimes overlap with other diseases and things. And so just kind of bringing awareness to that. But back to this doctor's visit. So this particular doctor's visit, we were working hard. We were getting up early. We were eating right, doing what we're supposed to do. I'm still like struggling to lose weight, even though I am losing. I'm struggling to lose weight, even though I'm working just as hard as my husband. I feel like, and of course he's a former athlete, so he is losing weight a lot more quickly than I am, and I'm getting jealous, and everybody's noticing he's looking good, and I'm like, I'm losing weight too, but nobody's noticing, of course, and I'm bigger than him. So it was kind of one of those situations where I was just like, bump it. It is what it is. I'm just going to keep living my life. But at this visit, so my husband and I work at a medical school, and at the medical school they have physicians' offices and things. So this was my primary care physician. So I went to just have my routine checkup. And so a lot of times we work with residents, and residents are doctors who've completed their medical degree who are going through the actual, hands-on process and experience that they have to obtain in order for them to residency, of course, to complete the residency and become like full doctors. And so they have an attending, and the attending comes in to check over everything, all of the notes and symptoms and things, to make sure that the resident has checked everything they're supposed to check. And the first thing that the attending says, the resident was amazing, but the first thing that the attending says is, have you considered bariatric surgery? And so, like I said, mind you, I had been working very hard to lose the 40 pounds that I had lost, and I was doing well, and she just blew me. I was so angry. I was livid. And I was like, no. Like in my mind, I'm like, she just called me fat, right? And so people call you fat. I'm like, I know I'm fat. Ain't nobody got to tell me I'm fat. Kids tell me I'm fat in the stores. I'm never embarrassed because they're telling the truth. But she told me, she pretty much confirmed for me that I'm fat enough to have weight loss surgery. Even though I knew that, it just was like, who do you think you are telling me that I should consider it? Especially because I have been working so hard. And not to downplay anybody who, who's had weight loss surgery or anything, because um, well, we'll talk about that in a second. It wasn't nothing against them. I just was, because I was working so hard, and I'm like, my files show that I've lost 40 some pounds, and here you are asking me, even though, because it has been a struggle, but I'm still doing it. Like, I was consistent for months. And having lost that 40 pounds in all those months was almost a year, actually. I'm saying 6 months, but it was almost a year. It took me to lose those 40 pounds. I was livid. I was just like, I could have choked her for real. But anywho, so I hadn't thought about it. I was livid. I left there. I was mad, steaming hot. Like, came home, told my husband or whatever. Um, so time passed or whatever. I'm married now. Things are like, I'm married. I'm still working. We're looking for houses. Like, all these things. Like, life is just happening. And so, while we still meal prep, and we've done that consistently for, since we started, we haven't been consistent as far as, like, of course we eat out every now and again, some on some weekends and some weekdays if we decide that we don't have anything in the refrigerator that, either that we want, or that or there's nothing that's done. Um, so, but anyway, so I pretty much fell off the wagon, but not like completely off the wagon. It was just like every now and again I would have something out, not necessarily was my body was used to having, because I have been doing so well. And I got to the point where, like, I wasn't getting on the scale. I was like, I'm just living my life. Whatever happens, happens, type of thing. And sorry if you hear the noise in the background. Someone's weed eating out there. But yeah, I just was like, oh, whatever happens, happens. And then finally one day I got on the scale, because I was still, like I said, even though I wasn't exercising, I have to be honest, I wasn't exercising like I should have been. I was still working out, but just not as hard as I was previously. And we know that weight loss is 80% of what you eat and 20% of what you do. So your activity. So I figured if I was eating decent, then I should have been still losing weight. But I was just shocked by the number on the scale. People who have PCOS are prone to gain weight more quickly, typically in your midsections. I've always just been fat. I've been typically a fat hippie girl, like fat and wide at the bottom. I was used to be smaller in the middle, but I'm fat everywhere at this point. But yeah, so I saw the number, and I never forget, I just went to use the bathroom, and I just bawled. I told my husband, I was like, I can't do this anymore. I'm giving myself a year. And this was my birthday, I want to say last year, before I decided whether or not I want bariatric surgery. So I'm going to give myself a year, and whatever happens from there, either I'm going to lose the weight or I'm going to get bariatric surgery. So I started actually researching it, and over that year, up until, of course, at this point, but from my last year's birthday to this upcoming birthday, I lost maybe 8 pounds. And so I was doing something right, not everything. But I told myself I was gonna give myself a year to lose the weight, and also save up money, because my insurance at the time did not cover bariatric surgery. And so if I could do it on my own, then I would continue to do it on my own. And if I couldn't, I would just save the money up to have the surgery. And so time passed. Fast forward to October, I started another job. Let's rewind a little bit. So I found out that my husband's insurance actually covers, well, he had gotten a new job, so his newer insurance actually covered the surgery. And so I was like, cool, once open enrollment comes, I'll just hop on his insurance. And this is prior to me getting the current job that I'm in at this moment. And I'll just have the surgery, at that point, and that was going to be actually this May, when open enrollment came. But I ended up get a new job. He works for the state, and now I work for the state. And the insurances that are offered by the state both cover. I had of course call, but they both cover the surgery. So I said I'm going to give myself the remainder of the year. And this was back in October. My insurance started in November, but I said I'm gonna give myself the rest of the year to determine, and up till the 6 months, if I really want to do this. I'm gonna go through the whole process, and if at that point I decide that I still want to go through the surgery, I would have done everything that I needed to do. And so, yeah, so and back in November, I went to the seminar for the bariatric surgery at Sincera Comprehensive Weight Loss Solutions over in Norfolk, just to get some insight. I took my husband with me because at first he was a little bit opposed to it. He just, he doesn't like the thought of me getting any type of surgery. He doesn't want me to be hurt any type, because he's just that protective. And so I took him with me just so that we could both get some insight. He could learn, the statistics and things and understand the process and everything. And so we did that. And I also called my insurance, and I started talking with my social worker. And so with my insurance, with the insurance that I chose, you have to work with a social worker for 6 months. Well, you have to have a conversation with them for 6 months consecutively each month. And so, and then after that, they waive your copay. And the inpatient copay is $300. So they waive that. And then you also have to do 6 nutrition modules, and those nutrition modules have to also be once a month for 6 months consecutively. And so you cannot skip a month, and if you do, you have to start over. In addition to that, I had to have a sleep study. I had to have a psych visit. I had to have an upper endoscopy. I actually had 2 sleep studies. I did the at home, and then I did the in person. In the facility sleep study, and they both came back negative. So I didn't have sleep apnea, or don't have sleep apnea. I said psych visit, endoscopy, sleep study. Had to have blood work, chest x-ray. Actually, had to get another one because of COVID-19 and everything. I'm kind of expired. Well, some of the blood work and some of the testing expires. I had to redo that. And so pretty much what happened was when COVID-19 came, everything, of course, went virtual. And so all my nutrition visits were virtual. All of my follow-up visits were virtual. Everything pretty much has been virtual. And as soon as the world opened back up, I think it was maybe in May, excuse me, because initially I was slated to have surgery in May, either late May, early June, but sometime in that time period. I still talk to my social worker. I opt to speak with her to keep me accountable. So she is someone I talk to through my insurance. So as soon as everything opened back up, I started, before COVID-19, I hadn't completed my upper endoscopy, my sleep study, or there was one other thing, upper endoscopy, sleep study, and something else. Oh, my post-op module, which I actually have scheduled for next week. And so, they called me. I went to my sleep study. I had my upper endoscopy. Had to have a COVID-19 test, which is very, I want to say it's uncomfortable, but it's not unbearable. It's something that people hyped up a lot, and they're like, they have to go and do this. It made my eyes water, but that's about it. But yeah, so I had my upper endoscopy on. Oh, this is another thing. Let me back up. So they they recommend highly that you get on birth control for the first year to 18 months. And anybody who knows me knows my journey and knows that one thing that I have been wanting to do is to become a mom. And that's a part of the reason for this journey. There are a lot of other very important reasons why, because like I said, I don't have many health issues, if any at all. But there are other really important reasons why I opted to go and move forward with it. But one of them is because I want to become a mom. And so when I heard I had to get on birth control, I understood it was for safety reasons, but I was a little bit, I was a little bit deflated, because I'm like, well, that's the whole point of me. Well, that's one of the whole points of me wanting to do this. And so, but anywho, I had my endoscopy on the 28th. Went there, everything went well, don't have any issues. Everything looked great. The next day, I got my birth control. And the reason that they want you to have birth control is so that you don't get pregnant early, because your body doesn't, you can't consume enough calories to support you and the child. So that's why I'm not really a fan of birth control, but I don't want to go through having issues that I could have prevented by just listening to my doctor. So anyway, so on the 29th, I had my endoscopy. Everything went great. On the 29th, so they do surgical rounds to approve patients every Friday, and so they sent me the rounds on Friday and they approved me. However, I didn't find out until Monday. I got a call from a navigator. I started working with my first navigator. Her name is Joy. Joy and I have the same exact birthday, like month, day, and year, and she was absolutely amazing. And then my new navigator has been excellent as well. So she keeps me abreast of everything. Like so your navigators are the people who make sure that you have all of your appointments, that you've completed all your checklist items and everything. So they have just been amazing. Like they've kept me on target, no issues at all. And so my navigator, Casey is her name. She called me and she said, hey, this was Monday, the Monday after the endoscopy, on June the 1st. And she said, hey, just letting you know that. And she's like, have I talked to you already? I'm like, no. She's like, well, I'm letting you know that you have rounds approval. So we've submitted your case to insurance for approval. And I was so excited. And so I posted on our little Facebook group and let everybody know that I had gotten rounds approval. And one of the ladies there, this was on June the 2nd, and one of the ladies in our group was like, hey, yeah, I've been checking my insurance app to see if they've approved me for every day for 20 times a day. And I'm like, oh, I didn't think about doing that. And so I pretty much kind of followed suit and I went on my app to see if the claim was actually there. And it was pending. It had been pending. And so maybe around 7, 8 o'clock that night, I was like, well, let me just check one more time before I go to bed, and I'll check again in the morning to see if they had approved me. And so I checked and it said approved, and I nearly jumped out of the bed, y'all. I was so excited. And so I went on there, and the lady and I, she and I had been just kind of conversing back and forth about updating each other. And I was like, hey, I think it says approved. And she had just sent me a message also saying I was approved. And so we both got approved on the same day. The next day, my navigator called me and told me that I was approved, and I told her I knew, but it kind of confirmed it for me, and it just made it real. Like, okay, you've been approved, now let's schedule your surgery. And so that day, we scheduled my surgery. So just so that you know, I am having the vertical sleeve gastrectomy, and I don't know how to say her first name, but Dr. Grayson's will be performing my surgery on July 2nd of 2020. So, yeah, I'm ready, y'all. I'm ready I have to complete a 7-day pre-op liquid diet, and then I also have to I'm still on a liquid diet from the first full day out of the hospital, all the way up to for 2 weeks, and then I have their gradual steps, and so they give you grocery lists and things that you can eat during each stage, and kind of progressing up until the back into the real food stage. So this journey has been one that has been it's been emotional. It's been a journey of self-reflection. It's been something that I never expected, especially from that day when that lady told me. She was like, well, have you considered bariatric surgery? And here I am. And I thought that, because I'm one of those people who watches My 600-Pound Life. And so I never thought about people my size, even though I'm a real big girl. I never thought about people like me getting bariatric surgery. And then there were people that I knew who had gotten it, who were smaller than me. And I was like, man, they look excellent, and they're doing so well. And so that was that was a very encouraging factor. Like, that was something that really kind of pushed me to think about it even more seriously. It just kind of went that way. And I can't thank my husband and my mom enough, because they have been the absolute best support system ever. And so my mom, keep joking with her about wearing her clothes at some point. Because my mom, back when I was little, she was tiny. She was like 135 pounds soaking wet. Back when she and my dad were together, and she's gained weight a little bit since then because she quit smoking and things like that. And that's typically what happens. But she's still small. She's still a smaller woman. And so I'm like, one day we're gonna be sharing the same shoes and sharing the same clothes. But one question I get a lot, I have to say, is, are you excited? You're gonna look so good and all that. First of all, let me tell you something about Tashir, okay? Yes, I'm fat, but I'm not one of those people. I'm not one of those girls who lacks confidence. I might well, as far as how I look, I'm perfectly fine with how I look. There are times when I think I look bomb, and times when I know I look a hot mess, like today. Everybody has their days, but I never ever looked at myself like, oh. I mean, I might have said, oh, I'm fat, but that's about it. I'm not she fat, but she got a pretty face girl either. That's not it. I think I'm beautiful. I do. I think I'm beautiful. And I think that there are a lot of women out here who look at themselves because they're fat. They think that they look gross. I looked at myself in the mirror many times and thought, there's some things I might want to change. But if I was like this today, then I'm going to be okay. The reason for the surgery, and I think that for me, it's not necessary. Like, my family has a lot of a history of certain diseases and things. And so I am predisposed for a lot of different things. So diabetes, high blood pressure, heart disease, and that doesn't necessarily mean that the surgery is going to solve all those problems or prevent me from getting those things, or those things prevent those things from happening to me. But it is less likely, and I think that I want to be around to watch my nieces and nephews and my godchildren just grow up, and I want to be a mom, and I want to be the best wife I can be, but most of all, I want to be the best version of myself for me, because I know that there are things that, because of my weight, I've held myself back from. Right now, I am my own biggest hurdle. And I've identified that, and I realized a lot that a lot of the decisions that I've made to or not to do certain things have been because of my weight. But pretty much, so I just wanted to come on here and say that, and just let it be known that it is going to happen. And for those of you who think this is an easy road, I watched many videos, and these people have gone through so much, and this is something that I'm willing to let myself go through in order to get to a place where I want to be. I thank God for just allowing the people in my life that He's allowed to just kind of show me the way, and I'm keeping the faith. I know that everything's gonna work out great. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I just wanted to come on here and say that. One more thing. Excuse me, y'all. But I have a team of family and friends who are going on my pre-op liquid diet with me. There's maybe a team of 6 or 7 of us who are, they're my support team. We're going to check in, just to, make sure everybody's doing what they're supposed to do. But we are going through my liquid diet with me, and just for support and encouragement, and to kind of understand what I'm going through during that time. And I'm just grateful for them. So y'all know who y'all are. I appreciate you. But if there's anyone else who wants to join us, let me know. I will send you all the information that you need to know. The liquid diet for me starts on June the 25th, which is 7 days prior to my 7 days prior to my surgery. So if you are interested, like I said, just hit me up. But I plan to continue to document this journey, just so that there are people out there who are interested and who have questions, and who need support, or who just want to find somebody, or need somebody that they can count on and hold accountable, and hold that person accountable, that I'm here, and hopefully you all continue to follow me. If not, that's fine. It's just for those out there who are interested in my journey, but also for those out there who are interested in the journey itself, because you are considering weight loss surgery. I can only speak to my experience. I can't speak for others, and so everything that you get is going to be candid and frank. It's going to be from me, like I said, from my experience and from my heart. I am not here to act as a medical professional. I'm only here to share what I've gone through, and what I will go through, all the good, the bad, and the ugly. So I just ask that you stay tuned if you're interested, and I appreciate y'all. Peace.